respect her privacy and help us with that. Kind of going along the timeline of this is a kind of a rarity in Pickens County, so we want to make sure everybody understands. 2:35 to say around 2:40 this morning, a.m., 2 or 3 county inmates detained Pickens County prisoners of an assault and overtake the detention area that they were in at that time, and a premeditated plan to escape from the prison out there. Both of the detention officers were injured during the attack, and the 2 inmates escaped from the facility. Around 02:53 this morning, the Sheriff's Office gets a 911 call and receives notice of the incident and what's going on out at the stockade, or the prison farm, we still call it around here, prison facility. And seen, and everybody was on their way there. We were in the area within 4 minutes. Thought that was a great response on our part. So the responding deputies observed one of the escapees, later identified as Timothy Cleveland Deal, just a short distance from the facility on Concord Church Road. And he was taken into custody right there, run down by one of our deputies. As that was going on, the arrest is still occurring with Deal. A female homeowner on Meese Mill Road calls 911 also, and reports that an unknown subject has kicked in her back door to the residence and that she has shot him. The female resident is home alone when this occurs. Around 3:04, deputies arrived at the caller's home and located a gunshot victim inside the homeowner's residence with a single gunshot to the head. The gunshot victim is dressed in prison clothing, which is orange jumpsuit type things there, and is immediately identified as a second escapee. And that's the name that we can't release at this time. But as soon as we get it, we'll make sure that y'all get it also. The suspect there was flown from the scene by medical helicopter and was pronounced deceased at Greenwood Memorial Hospital. The homeowner was uninjured. And we say a little prayer for that. Kind of go over a more detail of what happened and what was going on last night. Our initial investigation, we're still running several leads down that said the assault on the officers and the escape from the prison was premeditated and had been planned for several days, or maybe possibly weeks. Prisoners in that time, those type of situations have a lot of time on their hands. The non-involved inmates attempted to actually rescue and aid our detention officers. So I think that speaks to our detention officers who built a relationship with these people, but some of them came to their rescue, and I thought that was a good thing. The burglary and shooting part of the entries gained the homeowner's residence by force. The evidence at the scene confirms that the back door was kicked in, and the escapee was near the homeowner's bedroom door when the escapee was shot. I was out there last night. You walk in the back, and the rooms are very small and right there, and there's not a lot of room in that area. So the evidence scene suggests that the escapee had armed himself with a metal knife sharpening tool, a pretty large sharpening tool, probably over a foot or right at a foot, that belonged to the homeowner. The tool was originally located in the kitchen area, just feet away from where she was sleeping. The homeowner had no other escape a route to get out of there because of the size and the layout of the house. One shot was fired from a handgun that is owned by the resident. There's no relationship between these two, never met in their life. The homeowner is an adult female that was home alone when the incident occurred. The homeowner is a trained CWP holder and can legally possess a weapon. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Our preliminary conclusion today is the homeowner is a victim of forced entry in her residence in the middle of the night by a convicted felon. And he was an escapee from the Pickens County Prison, armed with an improvised weapon, and the victim was trapped in her home and in her bedroom. The victim was in fear for her life, and she used lethal force to protect herself. The Sheriff's Office has not uncovered any evidence or information in any way that would suggest anything different. Kind of legal review of what happened from now is we'll continue wrapping up our case today and tomorrow. We got some of our detention officers who were hurt, we want to get detailed statements from them and follow up anything else that comes in. Once we do that, we'll turn it over to the 13th Circuit Solicitor, and they'll review it for any charges or any further charges or feedback on the whole process. I said the escapee, Timothy Deal, is facing several additional charges filed against him by the Sheriff's Office to include escape and assaults on the detention officers. So that's things we're following up with today. But I think the main thing that I get out of this is, first of all, our people were on scene within 4 minutes. Our dispatch did great. Everybody on scene did great. But the one thing I want to stress in this is, especially females, is get your CWP. Be trained in your weapon. Shoot it often at the local range or where you can. But this is the shining example of what this lady did, took the time to get her CWP and set herself up to be able to protect herself and not be harmed, killed, or raped, or whatever. She came out on the good on this end, and the other guy, the bad guy, didn't. If there's no other thing we pull out of this today, I want to hammer that home of how this lady saved her life because she took half a day out of her life and went and got training. And when that training came through, she was calm and steady as somebody can be in that situation, and she saved her life and stopped the bad guy. And I'm really stressing that, and this just men also, but I'm stressing that to females. This was a big guy. If she hadn't had a weapon, no telling what would have happened. But she stopped the crime. She solved the crime for us, and she came out a winner. And I talked with her last night and gave her a big hug. And I told her how proud I was of her because she saved her life, and I think she'll be an inspiration to a lot of other ladies who have been on the fence of what to do. I teach CWP, and the only classes I've done have been females because I believe in that strongly, and I think this is a great example for that. So another way, in saying all that, my takeaway today is females especially, and males, get your CWP, stay practiced, and stay the way you need to do to make sure that you take care of yourself and your family. There could have been children in this at any time, and she could have saved their lives too. So we're very proud of her for what she did. Very few people go, even cops go through a situation like that, and she's kind of a hero to us here today. So you have the information on Mr. Deal, and as soon as we get clearance, the next of kin is out of state. As soon as we get that, we're going to get that to you immediately. Any questions?
Sheriff, did Mr. Deal flee? You may have answered this. Did he flee when the shot was fired, or did she keep him at bay?
They were in separate areas. Mr. Deal was kind of going down Concord Church Road, and then the other lady, I'm not going to get around her residence, but it was kind of going two different ways.
Sheriff, are your detention officers okay?
Yes. Probably a little sore. I was with them this morning, one male, one female. I was at the hospital with them, and very proud of them. And also want to mention, believe it or not, a lot of the inmates helped the detention officers. And that tells me a couple good things. Hopefully there's some good still left in the people who helped our detention officers, but our detention officers had built good relationships. Even though we're kind of on the different side of the law, they built good relationships, so they treated people like they should be treated, and they came to their rescue. Without that, no telling how bad this would have been.
Are there any learning lessons from this, and maybe prevent this from happening again?
Well, I think so, and we've already started. When we're merging that facility and our jail facility into a brand new facility. So we think that's going to take care of a tremendous amount of our security needs and our day-to-day programs that we do and procedures that we have. And we will have more people in a facility that can rush to aid. And so we think when we open up April, May, that things like this should go away very quickly.
Sheriff, in the meantime, does the prison have any increased security, or is there anything else happening?
No, we're out there today to see what's going on, and we'll probably put a couple of people extra out there over the next few days. But as far as right now, it's back at where it should be.
Can you discuss if they physically got out? I'm not sure if you can do that. Did they go out the front gate, or they scale the razor wire?
Still under investigation.
Yeah, we're still looking exactly what's going through, what they actually did. But a lot of times, you know, they've overpowered some of the guards, and that's where it starts. So we're trying to, and we hadn't really pushed our 2 people who were in the hospital yet. So when we give them a little rest, we'll get deeper into that.
Is it a minimum security facility?
Yes,
Per se?
it would be clear as minimum security, and it's where most of the people out there are sentenced already. That's where they go pick up workers out through those type things.
And right now, it looks like it's just these 2 inmates that were in on this plan, so to speak.
Yes, we're going to look at one more person, but right now just these 2 are our 2 main culprits.
Has anything like this ever happened before at this prison?
There's been escapes out at the prison, even back when I was here in 1995 or 6 with Bloodhound. But it's very rare, but it does happen occasionally.
Did you alert the community to what was going on?
No, ma'am, not last night. We were in the area and got it wrapped up so quick. So we had everybody that we knew. We did a prison check. It makes a head count. And then we had everybody wrapped up in that one area. So we didn't see any need at that time.
Sheriff, when you live in that proximity to a facility like that, it might be on your mind that something like that could happen. Is that the situation with this woman? Is that why she went through her CPD?
No, I think it was just on her part kind of seeing, I guess, how the world is changing, and she lives by herself, and so a lot of times, and so that was her motive to make sure she could protect herself. And as you see, it worked out well.
Sheriff, can you talk a little bit more about the experience level of the officers who are involved? Are they veteran officers who've been with you for a while?
Sheriff, if you look on your page about the county prison, it's got their experience levels and everything on there for you.
Yeah, of the 2 that were there, they are some of our best. And like I've been with us a while, and as I talked about earlier, they built relationships with people, and I think that went a long way last night.
Were they the only 2 in that? Can you talk a little bit more about? You said in an area that something happened. Can you talk a little bit more about where they were and sort of how it unfolded?
We're not going to get into the layout of the prisons or the staffing there. We need to keep that to ourselves so others don't know, and when they're trying to arrange things like last night. So we kind of keep that to ourselves and close to the vest so we don't give up how many, where, who, and how, because we'll change people in and out and things like that. So we try to keep on our toes of our staffing and where people are put.
Exactly what resources were used in tracking these people after they escaped?
Uh, we've-
Can you, I know you can't talk specifically, but you know, what, K9, Bloodhound?
if just general escapes, yeah, Bloodhound is still tried and true. We're getting into drones now, and we have an airplane. Just depends on the situation. We'll get out anything we can.
Timothy Dill, am I reading this right? He only had, he was serving 18 months for violations of probation?
Yes, and I don't have his code, but there's ongoing things. He violated probation, so that probably gets him all the time back that he was on probation. So he violated it, so it becomes a real sentence after that.
Are you able to talk about the other inmate and their history? Or the violent criminal? You mentioned this started when another shot in his home was a big guy.
Yeah, as far as you're talking about his criminal history,
Yeah.
that'll be out. Yeah, he's a felon, and so he's known to us for quite a while, and just another reason to always make yourself prepared.
So he had been in and out of your prison before?
Yes.
Sheriff, I know you talked about how there was a quick response, you know, within 4 minutes.
Mhm.
There were people here. Can you talk about what was the total amount of time between when the inmates were able to escape and when this was sort of wrapped up? How much time elapsed?
As far as making kind of the scene safe,
20 minutes?
yeah, probably 20 minutes, because they were there, and see, with the help of the inmates again, the inside of the jail kind of came back, and when we came in, we sent people out there also. So really, even though our detention officers were hurt a little bit, they have regained control. And so again, another shout out to them of how great they did under trying situations. So they had everything kind of calm back down, by the time we had sent some units to them and some units to hunt the people out on the lam.
Can you talk a little bit more about the officers' injuries, the detention center, their injuries?
No, I don't have them yet. I left this morning. It was kind of bruised and beat up, and looking at and one officer just in general, his back was hurting him.
Non-life-threatening.
But
Yeah.
not anything
Nothing-
that's gonna put them in.
No,
no.
no.
No, that's on that sheet as well.
Yeah, we look for full recovery.
And then do they have to wait a certain amount of time before they go back to active, so to speak?
They're cleared on us because there's no weapon or anything, but we're just physically, with the doctor, will clear them. They were in good spirits last night, especially one of our female officers. I taught her most, and she was rip-roaring, ready to go. So she kind of became a hero of mine too. So.
Okay, I'll send you digital mug shots today. As soon as we get confirmation from the coroner's office that she's notifying this again, I'll send you the identity on the second suspect, the deceased person, and any other information that we are able